Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This will be my first long-form content that I am uploading to this channel. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee or tea, whatever you like to enjoy, and I will go through this painting with you. So when I first started this painting, I just drew with the paint. Decided to do that instead of using a pencil. I kind of go back and forth depending on the painting. For this one, I did decide to use the paint to draw it. Unfortunately, it did not go the way that I had planned. So I did actually start over. I just wanted to show you a little bit on how I did start. Just to show you that, not every painting works out, especially at first. There's a lot of adjustments, and sometimes you do just need to start over. So because of that, I decided to add a little reversal just for fun in this. Now you'll see me doing that. Instead of just recording me wiping it off, I just decided to include this. And then you'll see now here's the new one. The background is a little bit darker because of the paint that I wiped off. And I did go ahead and just do a drawing with pencil off camera. I was a little frustrated at this point, so I didn't want to record it. I just wanted to get that right. So now that I'm going to be starting fresh, I feel a little bit more confident about the process. I feel confident about the drawing, so I just feel much better about going into it. I was a little bit flustered the first time around. Now I've settled down a little bit and had some time to process. Now I'm actually ready to go ahead with this painting. I typically do not have a standard process for starting paintings. It really just depends on the painting that I'm doing and also just how I'm feeling that day. I guess the standard thing that I do is I do start with the darker values, which is typical for oil paints, to start with the dark values and then layer up the lighter values. Just to talk about the reference really quick. So that day I wasn't really sure what to paint, so I'd asked my husband to give me a prompt, and he told me to paint a wild rabbit. And I said, perfect. And because this is part of my mini painting series, I'm basically just painting whatever I can find, whatever I'm feeling that day. It can be a random object, it can be a portrait, an animal portrait, whatever I'm feeling basically is what I'm going to include in this project. And I think that's actually the beauty of what I'm doing here is just painting random things, and it's just helping me learn a lot by painting many different things, not sticking with one specific subject. So anyway, the reference did come from an AI prompt that I used with ChatGPT. I prompted it to create a portrait of a wild rabbit, and I did actually specify that it's going to be used as a painting reference. I gave it the 4x6 format, and it immediately gave me a great reference, and that's the one I ended up using. It was very painterly and just very classic looking, and I just really liked it. It wasn't something that I was used to painting as far as the style goes, so I thought I'd give it a try, and I'm really happy that I did. You'll notice that when I paint, I really work the brush around instead of working in just one area. I'm constantly moving around, adjusting what's needed. I don't really tend to work from one area out. This can be for different reasons. This can be because of the color that I'm using. I want to put it in several different areas and match that color, make it a little bit more cohesive. But also because for me at least, it helps with the form. It helps me see a little bit better how the painting is going rather than growing out from one specific area. Now, this is absolutely subjective. Everybody works in a different way. This is just how I work. And actually, when I do digital paintings, I do tend to work from one area out. So it really just depends on the format and depends on the painting and just kind of your ultimate goal. As far as color mixing goes, I really enjoy color mixing to try to match the color that I'm looking for. When I first started with oil paints, when I switched from acrylics, I started with a very limited palette. Just to allow myself to relearn color mixing and really focus on that to make sure that I understood color theory and in order to progress in my painting journey. Color theory is definitely something that I think everybody needs to learn, whether it's on your own, just trial and error, mixing things on your palette, putting it on your canvas, or actually taking a course in it. There are plenty of online sources for those, and something you don't actually have to go to if that's something that you're worried about. There are YouTube videos on color theory. There's so many options out there now, and I think it's really, really great. When I first switched to oil paints, I had just found Chris Fornatero, or Paint Coach, on YouTube. And it really inspired me, one, to switch to oils finally, because it's something that I had always wanted to do. I was just a little bit more intimidated by it. I'm not really sure why. I think it's probably for the same reasons why other people are intimidated by oil paints. But he really made it seem easier to me, and it really inspired me to just go out, buy oil paints, use some of his videos to learn. After using his videos for a while and developing a base for my skills with oil paints, I went on to purchasing his portrait course. And then I also subscribe to his Patreon page. I'll link his stuff below if you want to check it out. I highly, highly recommend his courses, his YouTube channel, his Patreon. They're all fantastic, and I've learned so much from him, and I am eternally grateful. If you're like me and you kind of suffer from a little bit of anxiety going into a painting, sometimes I'll just be paralyzed and I either can't decide what to paint, or I know what to paint, but just something is stopping me. And there is a bit of intimidation going into each painting, which is why I actually wanted to do this little project of 100 mini paintings. I'm trying to treat it like practice. Going into each one, it's practice. It's not a big deal. I can practice different things and just really not worry about making it absolutely perfect. So if you find yourself struggling like me when it comes to that, I definitely suggest trying a project like this, whether it is mini paintings or just painting every day, one thing per day. I've seen so many different challenges on YouTube or just social media in general, which is really great because I do think that it helps people overcome that anxiety or fear or intimidation, whatever you suffer from. And honestly, even beyond that, beyond the anxiety of just painting, for me at least, I find that it really helps with generalized anxiety. My everyday stress, whatever the case is that I'm dealing with that day, I can sit down and paint and know that it's going to help me. Typically, my mind races throughout the day. Sometimes it's hard to sleep at night. So when I'm painting, it is the only thing I'm focused on and the only time that my brain is quiet. Getting back to the painting that I'm doing in this video, you'll see that I had added the backgrounds and I decided to go with a green. You'll notice that the right side of the painting is a little bit lighter than the left side. That's because I wanted the dark side of the rabbit to really pop. So if I would have had a darker background, it would have kind of gotten lost into that background, which is not really what I wanted. Sometimes it works depending on the painting, but for this specific one, I was not seeking that. Another thing you may notice throughout this video is that I am constantly adjusting. I am pushing the paint around to adjust as needed. If I do one thing, I go back and I adjust something else because it may have changed something, or I notice just, sometimes taking your eyes off of something for a couple minutes is kind of a nice refresh, and going back to it, you'll see some things that need to be adjusted accordingly. And I really love that about oil paint. The fact that it can be pushed and pulled and adjusted accordingly, and it's just so much easier because the oil paint takes so much longer to dry in comparison to acrylics. Acrylics dry very fast, and you can't really adjust what you've already put down. You can only put on top of what you've already done. So if you're looking to try oil paints for the first time, whether you are a seasoned artist or a beginner, I don't think it's something that you need to be intimidated by or fearful of. But that's not to say that your feelings about it aren't valid. I think that it's something that many people struggle with. I certainly struggled with that, and it took me way too long to dive into oils. Finally, I was just like, you know what? If I'm not going to do it now, I'm never going to do it. And honestly, it was one of the best decisions I have ever made when it comes to the art aspect of my life. Ever since recording myself painting, it's really interesting to me to see what I put into it, how I adjust from a different perspective, because I'm viewing it outside of that moment when I was actually painting. And I think that's really been helpful for me in my experience because I am able to see those things afterward, to see any mistakes that I made or something that maybe I want to change next time I go into a painting. I think that a lot of people struggle with fur, and this is definitely something that I had to learn and do different techniques in order to see what worked best for me and also the brushes that I was using. A lot of people seem to think that with fur, you should be very detailed and see every strand of hair. And I don't think that's always the case. I think you can be a little bit more impressionistic and imply fur rather than painting every single strand. However, that is certainly subjective, and I think however you want to paint fur is how you should paint fur. You'll see me going back into the background here and making it a little bit brighter right on that contour of the face of the rabbit. This is because I really, again, wanted it to pop, just like I said earlier in the video. And I just didn't think that it was bright enough. So again, the beauty of oil paints is that you can push and pull and make it brighter or darker. Now, making it darker is always going to be a little bit more difficult than making it brighter. So I always suggest that you start dark and you can always make it lighter. Another thing that I had to get used to with oil paints is not painting the background before I begin a painting. When I was working with acrylics, I would always paint the background first, let it dry, and then paint over top of the background. Even with this learning curve, I do find it beneficial in a big way because when doing the background a little bit later, you can use that to your advantage and reshape your subject. I'd love to know how you do your backgrounds, if you start with the background or if you wait till a little bit later. Yeah, just let me know in the comments. I just want to take a moment to ask you to please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you did happen to like it. I do hope to do more of these types of videos, and because I've been doing so many shorts recently, it is kind of a nice breath of fresh air to do a long form content video. And I would really like to continue doing these, so please let me know if there's anything specific that you would like to see. And I'm sure some of you are curious, so I'm just going to state them here. My materials that I'm using are Winsor & Newton water mixable oils, which has been really a game changer for me because I love to work indoors and I do not like certain smells of solvents, so not having to use solvents has been really great for me personally. Also, I choose to not use any medium when I paint. This is a personal preference, of course. I was using it at one point and I just found it a little bit unnecessary for me and what I wanted to do. So I just eliminated it, went back to the basics, and wanted to learn how the paint behaves without any medium. And that's not to say that medium doesn't have its place. I absolutely think it does. It makes the paint a little bit more fluid, and sometimes it's just easier to spread across the canvas if you're looking to cover a big area of the canvas specifically. And it just makes it more pliable and easier to work with. Now, this is always dependent also on the brand of paint. I do find that certain brands behave differently. As far as the brushes that I use brushes from Rosemary & Co. They're out of the UK, and I can link below this set that I use. It's called the Alla Prima set, and honestly, they are the best brushes that I've ever used. They offer different brushes for oil painting, for watercolor, acrylics, you name it. They offer many different varieties of paintbrushes. I will say that it can be a little bit overwhelming, so thankfully they do offer sets if you're not sure what to get, which is incredibly helpful. And here you will see me using the back of my brush to create the whiskers of the rabbit. I find that this is the best way to do it in my experience, and you don't have to worry about what the brush strokes look like. It's just like a quick mark. You're basically scraping away the paint that is already there to create the illusion of whiskers. This is also the method that I've been using to sign my paintings. Just found that it's a little bit easier. I don't have to wait for it to dry to use an archival pen or try to get a brush stroke that looks like a sloppy initial. And with about a minute left in this video, I just want to take a moment to give you a big thank you for making it through this entire video and hearing me ramble. As I stated earlier in the video, I would really like to do more of these, so please let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. If I should make these a lot shorter, just please let me know. I thank you for bearing with me. I hope you all have a great day, and just let me know what you thought, and I'll see you next time.